Alright guys, we got a couple unique special trucks here today. Some pretty neat old iron with some amazing stories. I think we'll start off with the Kenworth. It's a 64 Kenworth. As far as I know, it was a Arizona logging truck. I'm not exactly sure on its history. By the looks of the frame in the back, I would maybe, it looks like it had a fifth wheel on it at one time. But maybe it was a logging truck. I don't see a headache rack mount on it anywhere though, but going by from what other people say, maybe it was a water tank because we got an external idle or upper dealio here, so you could idle up your engine while you're out here pumping, like a PTO or something to that effect on it. This truck is a, like I said, it's a 64. It's an L-924. Serial number is 101991. Series ED27. This puppy has a max speed of 41 miles an hour. I was underneath the back of it. Let's see what we got. 3.4, so it's got an overdrive auxiliary in it. I drove it about 20 miles here not too long ago, and it takes a while at 40 some miles an hour. But it's a neat old truck. Got all your gauges up on top here. A friend of mine bought it from another friend, and I drove it up here for him. And it hasn't left yet. Pretty soon though. Check out that seat. Another fine product at Kenworth. Got a lot of miles on that puppy. Shuts like a dream. Number 206. Like I said, got a 4-speed auxiliary. Aluminum case. It's even got the Kenworth tag on it yet. That's pretty cool. And we got some top loaders on this puppy. They are, if I remember right, I was looking at the back of it not too long ago. And the tag, yeah, double frame. She was meant for business. If I remember right, they're 754 ratios. Some serious some serious off-road gears, and it does not have parking brakes on it, so when you get out you got to make sure you block your wheels. The truck has had a heck of a life. Now I don't really know what the story is with these hoods, because this is a little window Kenworth cab. It's a 64, and in 63, 64 they introduced the wide hood, Kenworth hood. But this one has like a narrow nose radiator in it, so I'm not exactly sure if it had a narrow hood on it and then it was swapped over to a wide hood. I'm not really sure. Got a factory visor on it. That's pretty awesome right there. Motor wise, I'm not exactly sure. The tag is gone on it. It's a bear to open up the hood. It looks like a 250. It doesn't have external fuel lines in it. Maybe a 270. I think a 280 would be a turbo, or maybe a 270 was a turbo. I'm not exactly sure on that. But like I said, the tag on the auxiliary drive is gone on it, but it does run real good for 41 miles an hour. All right, so the next truck here is a 1972 359 Peterbilt. Kind of an interesting truck. Got a little publicity on Facebook a while back. This truck was owned by a gentleman. I think he was out of Texas or Louisiana, somewhere down that way. He was an African American driver, and it's kind of a funny story. So his grandson used to sit in this truck and spin the steering knob on it and all that stuff back in the day, back in the early 80s when his grandpa was driving the truck. And said trucking was harder for guys that were, you know, of color back in the day, and but he ran a pretty sweet truck. He named it the Engine Room. So anyway, we, not knowing that a friend of mine's friend owned it, he sent me a picture of it sitting out at his house one day here not too long ago, about a month and a half ago. Sent me a picture of this truck. I didn't even know he bought it, and I said, man, there's some people online talking about this truck. So I went and did a little bit of digging on it, and sure enough, his grandson had been still looking for his grandpa's truck. So we got back out in touch with him, and here a week ago, he flew up here to see it. We kind of throw a truck show get together at our farm here, and we brought the truck out here, and then he got off an airplane on Saturday morning from Texas all the way up to Minnesota, and shed a lot of tears sitting in his grandpa's truck, still spinning the steering knob on it and all that. He said nothing's changed. The tape from all the nudie posters in the sleeper was all still there. His grandpa's name was PC. I'm not exactly what that stood for, but yeah, he had a lot of, ran for some different companies. I think he pulled a flatbed with it, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like the front tank is a homemade tank. It's pretty neat. Now these are like a Alaskan, Canadian kind of air cleaner, where it kind of pre-warms the air before it goes into the engine. It's got an NTA 400 Cummins, kind of a hot rod little motor. It does have air leaf on the back. Somebody plumbed in some massive airlines on this thing though. And then I don't know what these are. These got air fittings on here to put an air hose on each one of these airbags. So I don't know if you blow an airline, you could cap off a line and air it back up. I'm not exactly sure what the purpose of that was, but for 1972, there's no scaling rust on it. Apparently somebody bought the truck on an auction back many years ago, 30 years ago, after his grandpa got done with it, and just parked it in a shed the way it was when he bought it, and the way it was when my friend's grandpa drove it, and never changed a single thing about it, except took it out for parades. But like I say, the must have had some stuff fall on it from flatbedding maybe back in the day. This is kind of fun though. His name was PC. It says, PC, don't blank with it. He wrote that on there back in the day. It's kind of interesting. Well, that sleeper door is not open on this side. Got some cool old things on here from back in the day. You just don't see anymore. So this is a spinny knob that he was talking about when he was 6-7 years old, sitting in Grandpa's truck, enjoying all of, or imagining being a trucker and all that sort of thing. Just got some neat history to it. That's even still got the license plates on it from back in the early 80s, the last time he drove it. You got some cool vintage speakers up here, place to hang your jacket. So originally it says here it was sold to James Sumroy, 306 Weldon, South Houston, Texas. I can't make out the date of service on it. Kind of neat that it's still got a sticker on it like that though. Looks like he's got some some lights on here, maybe for some high beam, low beam, or well, that's that, but I don't know, maybe something with the dump valve, or got some tape on here for your cruise control idle up thing, maybe, or that's maybe his compression. That's his compression release. This is your idle. Looks like we got a 13 speed in it. And I'll check this out in the sleeper. Like I say, it's still got on the walls where he had all of his nudie pictures taped on, is what his grandson said when he flew up here. Such a cool story, and his family was so honored to come up here, and we were so honored to have them, you know, coming up here for a party and all that good stuff. Oh, this must have, I think that was off of the auction, 72. We come out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Got some tall 24.5s on the front. Like I say, the plates on the front are still, well, that one's 1992. The one on the left is 1987 there. Still got the cast grill, the heavy hood on it. It's not cracked. Usually heavy hoods, you know, this is the screen, but most heavy hoods, they crack right up through here. This one is not cracked. Still got some old Perluxes on the front. Looks like the bumper, I think he said his grandpa had the bumper was boxed on the end, so I don't know if somebody changed it. Looks like they capped over where the pins go on it. Probably bent them up at one time as well. Some cool old stickers in it. Wyoming, Kentucky 87. It's been around a while. 1980 Michigan. It's unbelievable that it just sat in the shed and never got out. Here, hold this. I'm gonna open up the hood. They're heavy guns. Looks like it's got 4-spring in the front. Of course, no brakes. Let's say it's an NTA 400. Looks like somebody went through and did some airlining to it at one time, maybe. Looks like quite a few new airlines on here. Aeroquip ain't cheap. Can't make it out on here anyway. So anyway, kind of a neat old truck anyways. Figured I'd make a video before the news crew comes tomorrow and takes a look at it themselves. So anyway, we'll catch you down the road.